So this time is we're done with your Waterloo math for your Waterloo math. So let's go to your physics. Okay, physics is a little bit new, I guess, or you already heard what is physics. Anyone know what is physics? Anyone? What is physics?
Matter and energy.
Matter and energy? You're correct. Other than that, what makes physics cool? Any idea? Okay, you might know that physics is like matter and energy. So other than that, physics is really a big thing in this world or in our society. Okay, the reason why is that let's learn like what is really physics and why is physics they tend that oh physics is a little bit difficult and physics is challenging. So why is it physics is going to be like that? So physics is the science of matter and its motion, the science that deals with concepts such as force, energy, mass, and charges. So definitely, physics is everything. Okay, physics is the only science that asks how. Okay, physics is more on how. So for an instance, if there is a car is traveling from one point to another point, other sciences they might be asking, for example, for chemistry. So what makes the car moves? Okay, that's maybe they will thought that oh it's because of the gasoline, maybe it's because of the power, and those are the answers that you can get from a chemistry. Okay, if it's from a biology, they will say like oh there is a mechanism that is involved, but in physics we ask the question how does the car moves. So that is where we will apply velocity, friction, inertia, and things that which is not really very common into a normal person. So physics is everything in this world that can be questioned by a how. So the very famous one that I would like you to share on why is it that physics is everything is that do you know the story of Isaac Newton? Or do
Yeah.
you know who is Isaac Newton?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Isaac Newton is a famous physicist. At the same time, he's also a mathematician somehow. Okay, so there is a story of Isaac Newton. One day he's sitting down in an apple tree, and then while he is sitting down, relaxing, chilling out, one apple dropped on his head. Okay, one apple dropped on his head, and then he picked it up, and then he looked up at the apple tree, and then he realizes how why is it that the apple it tends to go down? Okay, why is it the apple it tends to go down? Now, when he throw another examples, keep on throwing, everything's really goes down, and then he figure out that there is what we call gravity. So we know that gravity it is the pull towards the Earth's surface. So that's why if you'll be going to the moon, there is no gravity. So scientists are just keep on floating into the moon. Okay, not like in the Earth that there is a what we call a gravity. But other than a gravity, there is a question that when he look up to the moon, okay, when he look up to the moon, if everything that goes up will be going down, because if you I will be throwing my pen, then it will goes down. If I'll be throwing a stone, it will goes down. If there's a rocket, it needs to have a very strong force so that it propels and then it goes totally goes up. But when he looks upstairs, when he look above, he noticed that there's a moon. Okay, the moon is above. Why is it that the moon does not falls down? How does the moon manage to be stay up there without falling down? So that is really the idea that he wants to try to figure out, and then it can be answered in physics. So physics is the only science that asks the question how. It also gives you the reason how, and it also definitely explain how things happen. Okay, so physics is everything. Physics is very wide. So at the same time, when we said physics, it is not just only by observing how things happen or finding solution or finding reasons how things happen, but there is a concrete evidences that how things happen. So that is the one that you might be learning in, or you will be learning in physics. So physics can be categorized into three different forms. It could be first, it could be what we call experimental physics. So experimental physics, this is concerned with the observation of physical phenomena and experiments. So everything that once we already figure out the theory, then we will try to experiment it so that it can be justified, that it can really be done in our world or in our society. The next one is what we have, your applied physics. So your applied physics is the application of the science of the physics to help human beings and solving their problems. So for an instance, we have our gadgets, we have our trains, we have our transportations. Those are part of what we call your applied physics. So applied physics is already good when you go through university or you'll be learning engineering, okay? Or any form of mechatronics or robotics, applied physics can be already, you can already learn for this. And then the last one is it can be classified as what we call theoretical physics, or physics that employs mathematical models and abstractions of physical objects and systems to rationalize and explain and predict natural phenomena. So, but everything, before you can really understand what is experimental, what is applied, we will always narrow down into what we call theoretical physics. So from here is that it says that theoretical physics is all about mathematical models and abstraction of physical. So you might be wondering, like, why is it that mathematics is involved in physics? Okay, what do we really do in physics? Okay, so what do we actually do in physics? So in physics, before we will go to your experimental, before we go to your applied, or before definitely we will be learning everything around the physics, we will be utilizing the knowledge that you already know in your math. Okay, so the foundation of physics is really a math. Oh, so definitely physics is the application of mathematics. Okay, so how does math or how does physics is related to math? So math is the basic unit of physics because this is where the ideas or how does the changes or how does the phenomena changes, then it can be solved by math. And then once we will be using the math, we'll be applying it into the world or the real life scenario. So once the math and the real life scenario will come together, okay, it will become as what we called physics. So one big example in terms of math and the world relation is that, for example, there is a soccer player kicks the ball, okay? So the moment that he kicks the ball, you can see that it created a projectile motion. So here is that this is just a simple, okay, simple scenario that we can see often in our daily lives. But however, is that to understand how does this ball will land into another place, or how high is the ball can land, or how far can ball reach, we need to solve what we call your mathematics. Okay, so we can able to find the initial velocity, the theta or the angle, and then at the same time we need to consider the height or how to find the height, and that is your delta h. And then you'll be having your velocity at its final, meaning that could be zero. So we can able to solve everything. How does the ball create? How does the ball will really fall, or how does the ball will go as high as it is, or how far it can goes? Then applying the idea of mathematics, we can able to explain how does the ball fly from the foot of a football player, a soccer player, and then going to another end. So this is just of those one of those examples that if you are really interested in physics, you can learn all of this. So these are also, like, for example, for an instance, like a car, moving car. Okay, we can able to explain how does the car moves from one point A to point B using mathematics at the same time using physics. Any question before I will proceed? All good? Okay, I prepare here some of a few questions that it might for you to answer. Okay, let's have this question. What does the following position time graph tell us about the motion of the object? So by looking at the graph, how can we tell or the position time graph or what is the motion of the object? Okay, A, the object is accelerating in the positive direction. B, the object is moving in the positive direction at a constant velocity. C, the object is uniform motion and headed in the negative direction. Or D, the object is not moving. Anyone would like to give a guess or answer?
A.
A? Why A?
Maybe it's A because when I look at the object is accelerating in the positive direction. So basically, and I've seen that it's going like all the way upwards. So I
Mhm.
see that it's accelerating in a positive direction. I also thought it was B, but then when I said it said constant velocity. It doesn't look to me as the graph is showing constantly. If it was constant, then it would be a straight line.
Okay. Next. Okay. Saint or ST, your answer is letter C. Why C? All right. So the answer is B. The object is moving in the positive direction at a constant velocity. Okay, velocity, it is in terms of meter per second. Your graph is shown position in which is in meter and then over time which is in second. So therefore, once will be if you will learn physics, you will explain it more further why we are talking about velocity and we're not talking about acceleration here. Okay? So this one is since yeah, you're who's the one talking a while ago?
Me.
Okay. So Jaitra, yes, you're somehow a little bit or partially correct because if we would say that the velocity is constant, so it should be a linear graph, okay, a line or a line. But this one also is can be a linear graph. So therefore, basically in terms of mathematics, what is x is will be equivalent to what should be the y's, meaning there is a constant there is a constant velocity. But don't worry, we'll explain it more further once you go ahead. Okay, next, this one. A duck flies 60 meters in 10 seconds. What is the duck speed? It's A, 600 meter per second, B, 50 meter per second, or C, 6 meter per second, or D, 70 meter per second. Anyone?
C.
Pardon? Okay,
C.
Jaitra. Okay, Jaitra, you said C. How do you get C?
I think it's C because when you travel 10 seconds and you reach 60 meters, then 60 divided by 10 would be 6. So you're traveling 6 meters in 1 second. And when you multiply by that by 10, then it'd be an equivalent fraction of 60 by 10.
Okay, perfect. Yes, so speed. Okay, actually, speed is we have dt. Okay, that is distance over time. That is for speed, or simply as or we'll be doing a s is equal to speed, which is dt. So technically, in your physics, there is a actual formula. So this is just only those basic questions in terms of speed, distance, and your time. So from speed itself, distance is 60 meters over time. So 60 divided by 10 to make it meter per second. Okay, so that is 6 meter per second. Okay, how about this? Describe the motion of a person not wearing a seatbelt if the car stops suddenly. A, the person and the car will stop together. B, the person will stop faster than the car because they are lighter. C, the car will stop and the person will keep moving forward because of inertia. And D, the car will stop and the person will speed up. Any answer? Okay, Alan, C, ST is C. Okay, ST, can you explain why C?
I think it's C because Because like the inertia.
So what is inertia?
Um, I think it has to do with like gravity.
Gravity? Okay. All right. So why C? Because of inertia, because of that word,
Yes.
right? Okay. We have also Alan. You said also C. Why C?
Because the person is still moving at that constant speed, but it's the
Mm,
car who stopped. And so the person on going, and because he's not wearing a seatbelt, it won't stop and it'll keep on moving forward because of inertia.
all right. So the answer is really letter C. Because inertia, it is a property of matter by which it continues in its existing state. So since the person is riding, okay, since the person is riding on a car, okay, the state of inertia of that person is just constantly moving somehow. But though he is riding on a car, but when the car is suddenly moving, I suddenly stop, then the person will really go forward while the car will stop. You can also experience this one in a real life scenario when you are riding on a car, right? Without having seatbelt or even having seatbelt. The moment that they will stop automatically or suddenly, you will tend to move forward because that is inertia. Okay. So in terms of inertia or in terms of other terms related to physics, if you are really interested, then we can explain further and we can explore physics in order for you to understand clearly and not just by guessing the answer. So how about this last one? Which ball will hit the ground first if it drop off at the same time at the same height in a perfect vacuum? A, metal first, then plastic, then wood last. B, wood first, then plastic, then metal will be last. C, they will all hit at the same time. And D, there is no way to tell. Okay. ST said B, Alan said C. Okay, let me have, okay, and then Jaitra said B. Okay, Jaitra, can you explain first? I will give you the explanation. Why B? Oh, C. Okay, Jaitra, can you explain why C?
It's because in the first option, when it says metal, plastic, and then wood, I think that plastic is lighter than wood, but I'm not sure, so I don't think it could be A. Oh, then when it says wood first, then plastic, then metal last, metal is like a heavier object than the plastic, so that can't be the option either because then metal is supposed to hit first. So there can't be no way to tell. So it has to be they will all hit at the same time.
Okay, Alan, well, how about your explanation?
Okay, so they'll all hit at the same time because I forgot whose law of motion it was, but yeah, someone
Mm-hmm.
tested it out using three balls with different densities, and they all
Mm-hmm.
fell on the ground at the same time. So
Okay, I have a question, Alan. But the wood ball is much more heavy. Metal ball is much more heavier than the wood ball than the plastic ball. So how do we will hit at the same time?
because um, it doesn't depend on the density.
Okay, and then we have ST. You said B, wood will fall first, then plastic, then metal will last.
I changed my answer to A because
Okay.
metal is heavier, so it'll fall first, then
Mm-hmm.
plastic because wood is lighter than all of them.
All right. Any more other answer? Okay, we have B and C. The answer is letter C. They will all hit the same time. Okay, but the reason why is they will all hit at the same time because the question asks us that we will drop it in a perfect vacuum. So when we said a vacuum, meaning no friction, no the air resistance is not anymore considered. So definitely everything is will fall off the same way. So and once you'll be joining with us, we'll be explaining you and I'll be showing you video, and there is a laboratory experiment which one will fall first. It is just the same if it's a bowling ball or it's a feather. So if they will put in a vacuum, both will just fall the same way, regardless of how heavy they are or how lighter they are. Okay. So the key word here is because we're talking about a perfect vacuum, meaning no air, the air resistance is neglected. The any friction or whatever we'll be having in a perfect vacuum, meaning everything is neglected. This is also, if you will be understanding what is a perfect vacuum or what is a vacuum, okay, why is it that it will just fall off the same way? Actually, right now in the current world, there is a applied physics for this, which is the train, which is what we call the hyperloop. The hyperloop that can really run as fast as it might reach into from 700 to 800 meter per second, or kilometer per hour rather, kilometer per hour. That's how fast it is, as long it will run in a vacuum. But with the current situation we have is that most of our trains or most of our subways, they are not really yet in a perfect vacuum. So vacuum is that something a close, okay, it is a closed sphere, or it is a closed area wherein air resistance is neglected. All right. So if you are really interested in learning more physics, then you can register. Okay, so what do you expect on what we need to learn in physics? So we have here, we'll be discussing measurements and units, because before we can understand physics, we need to understand how the measurements will be converted from one another, and then what are the units. So there is an English units, there is also what we call an SI units. And then we also dealing with your kinematics. So kinematics is the physics of motion. That is your displacement, distance, velocity, acceleration, and when is the speed will decrease and when is the speed will increase, or when is the car will slow down, or when is the car will speed up. We have also what we call your dynamics. That is your forces. So your forces could be kinetic, that would be your kinetic. And then we have also for your motion. So impulse and momentum, and your energy, different types of energy. It could be a wave energy, light and optics energy, and then it could be sound energy. Everything that we will be discovering about this world. We have a microwave, we have everything, or like how does the satellite, or how does our phone really works well from the earth, and then why, if we will be sending messages, they can able to receive in a split second. Then physics can explain you how does things happen. Okay, we have also simple harmonic of motion, heat and temperature, which is very good for thermodynamics. Why is it that in a house, if it's heat outside, the house will also is also hot? Okay, and then how does the temperature changes over time, and how does it affect the surrounding itself? We have also electrostatics, which is a little bit of a higher physics, and then particles and interaction. But for everything is we'll need to start from the bottom itself for the measurement and units. Any question? And that's all. Any question, guys? None? All good? Jaden?
Yes, go ahead. Yep.
Okay, I'll just go ahead. So the third topic that we'll be talking here is your Singapore math. So let's have your Singapore math. So I guess all of you already hear the Singapore math, but the thing is that how the Singapore math is differ from other math, like your Waterloo math contest. Okay, Waterloo math contest is very more specific into a problem, into dealing or how to solve mathematics you by a problem solving. Or Waterloo math contest is really the art of problem solving. What about Singapore math? Okay, Singapore math, this is a type of mathematics in Singapore in which they will use materials, or they will use figures or visuals to understand how to solve mathematics. So at the same time, there are also steps that in Singapore math that it will be narrowed down from visual going to your theoretical, and then it will goes through your mental. So Singapore math is really an organized mathematics that really comes first. Like you need to see it first before you will solve it. Okay, they will explain it in a way that you can see the figure first rather than you just only see the number itself. Okay, here is that I'll be sharing you a Singapore math topic, which is sum of angles of a triangle. So how do we sum up, or what is the total sum of angles and triangles? Okay, can you get a pen? Can you get a paper with you? Okay, if you have a paper with you, can you make a triangle such as this? Okay, we can have a paper. Give me a sec. And then make sure that you'll be having a triangle. If you already have a triangle with you, then that's really good. And then kindly denote everything as your point A, point B, or your edges as A, B, and C, which is for you to see what does it looks like. Oops. Okay, give me a sec. I'll be creating mine. So I'll be having A, B, C. So this is a triangle. Okay, any form as long as it is a triangle. Okay, now is that if we will try to cut your triangle into 3 pieces, okay, hopefully I'm doing it right, okay, because I don't have a, okay, let me say I have this and I have this part. Okay, so I have now 3 pieces. So this is my A, okay, that's my A, meaning one edge is A, and then one edge is B, okay, that's my B, and then one edge is C. Okay, now let's try to combine it. Okay, if we will combine it, okay, it will looks like this, the same as my figure. Okay, okay, we will arrange the 3 pieces like this. Question, what did you notice? Anyone? Any explanation? What did you notice?
Can I tell?
It's a different shape.
It's a different shape. Okay.
Can I tell?
Yeah, sure.
That the edges make like a circle.
Okay. So it makes like a half circle, right?
Yeah, like a half circle.
Okay. And then that's all.
It looks like a straight line, which is measuring 180 degrees.
Okay, it's measure 100, a straight line, which is 180 degrees. That's already, we know, yeah, right? Okay, good. Good observation. Yes, definitely. Once we'll be connecting one piece, the 3 pieces, the first observation is that it created like a straight line, meaning that is 180 degrees. Okay. At the same time, okay, it also created like a semicircle. So a semicircle or a circle, okay, a circle is having 360 degrees by measure, correct? So meaning it's also if it's a half of a circle, so therefore it's also 180 degrees. So it also makes sense that if the 3 sides of the triangle, the three area or the 3 parts of the triangle, they will make up a total of 180 degrees. So in short, if this is my triangle, okay, if this is my triangle, okay, if this is my triangle, my A, my B, and my C, okay, or my C, so A plus B plus C it will be a total of 180 degrees. Question? All good? Okay, let's try a simple problem related to this. Okay, the three angles of a triangle will add up to 180 degrees. Okay, question 1. In a triangle ABC, okay, this one is what we call angle. Okay, that's how we read. Angle ABC is equal to 82 degrees, and angle BAC is equal to 54 degrees. So find the angle BCA. Any answer?
You can add them both.
Yep. Remember that all the parts or all these parts of the triangle makes up a total of 180 degrees. So what is angle BCA? Anyone? What's the answer?
The answer should be 60 degrees.
Okay. It needs to be 44. Anyone can explain why 44?
Because 54 plus 82 is equal to 136, and 180 minus 136 is equal to 44 degrees.
Okay, bingo. That's correct. Always remember that a triangle, regardless of what it looks like, or as long as there are three sides of a polygon, then we consider that one as a triangle. So the triangle is a total of 180 degrees in terms of its interior angles, or we called it angles. So if this is 54, this is 82, then 54 plus 82, then minus it out from a 180 degrees. So therefore, this is 44 degrees. Any question? Okay, let's try more. Find the measure of each angle indicated. What is the measure of the angle? Answer?
Yeah, I have the answer.
Okay, what's your answer?
I think it's supposed to be 34.
Okay, 34. Very good. How do you get 34?
115 plus 30 is 145, plus 146. 180 minus 146 is 34.
Great.
And
How about this figure? Yeah, you're correct. So what 31 plus 115, it's equal to 34. Okay, next. Find the angle indicated. What is B?
I think B is 28.
Pardon?
I think B is 28.
20,
8.
28? How does it become 28?
119 plus 30 is 149.
119 plus 34?
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
That's
Just
fine.
thing
Yes.
to say is that I think the correct answer is 27.
Okay, how do you get 27, Andrew?
So 119 you plus 34, and that's 153, and then
Mhm.
you can minus that by 180, and that's 27.
All right. Yes, that's correct. It's 27 degrees. Okay, let's have another. Okay, how about this? Answer?
Okay, 118.
Okay, 118. How do you get, Andrew?
Okay, so the first 33 plus 29, that's 62. And then 180 minus 62 is 118.
29 plus 33 is 62. So 180 minus 62, that is 118 degrees.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, it's 118 degrees. Okay. Let's have this.
This
Okay.
one is 30.
Pardon? 30? Who is speaking? Sorry, I cannot
Jaitra.
Okay. Jaitra, can you explain why you get that answer?
75 multiplied by 2 is 150, and
Mm-hmm.
180 minus 150 is 30.
Okay, very good. Okay, next. How about letter this one? What is B?
I think it's 18.
Okay, 18. So still the same. 39 plus 123, that is 162, right? So 180 minus 62, then that is 18 degrees. Okay, how about this?
Oh, I got it.
Okay, what you've got?
99.
Okay, 99. Why 99?
First, because you add them 26 and 45, and that equals to 71.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no.
109.
Wait, I think I got it wrong. Wait. It's a
What
100.
is it?
109.
Okay, Ashita said it's 109.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you get 109?
So I plus 26 and 44. Then I subtracted that from 180 and then I got a 109.
So what is 26 plus 45?
26 plus 45 is 71.
Okay, very good. So we can have 109. All right, so any form of a triangle, always remember whatever it looks like, as long there are three sides of a polygon, then it's considered as a triangle. Okay, the total of a triangle, it is the interior angles of a triangle is 180 degrees. Now let's try to level it up. Okay, find the value of the x. So one side is 77 degrees, the other side is 50 degrees, and then the other side is 7x minus 3 degrees. What is the value of x? Anyone? Solve and figure out. Answer? Eight. Shitai, am I reading it correctly? Sorry, or Liu? Okay, can you explain why 8?
Because if you do 77 plus 50, you get 127. But then I did 183 because there's like the minus 3 part over like minus 3. So I did minus 183 minus 127. It gave me 56. 56 divided by 7 is 8.
Okay. Or simply as we can solve it this way. Okay, 77 plus 50 plus 7x minus 3 is equal to 180, right? Because this is the three sides of the triangle. Next, 77 plus 50, then minus 3, then you can have 124 plus 7x is equal to 180. Then we move the 124 on the other side, so it will now become 7x minus 180 minus 124, because according to math, once you move one number into another side of an equality sign, then it will change the sign. So 7x is equal to 56, then you divide everything by 7, so you can get x is equal to 8. Question? Yeah, 127 Akshita, then minus 3. Then it will gives you 124. All good?
Okay.
All right. So 77 plus 50, 127, minus 3, 124. Okay, how about this? Solve. And what's the answer of the x?
I think I got it. Wait, never mind. Sorry. Yeah, I got it. So
Okay, what's your answer?
I think the answer is uh, I think it's 18.
18, Jaitra. Why is it 18? How do you get 18?
I did 45 plus 45 is 90. So
Mhm.
90, like 180 minus 90 is equals to 90. And we know that 4x plus 18 is 90 because that's the missing value. So we know that 90 minus 18 is 4x.
Mhm.
And therefore we know that 90 minus 18 like is actually 72, and 4x, which is
Mhm.
4 times x, equals 72, and now 4 multiplied by x equals to 72, so x is 18.
Okay. So we have here is 4x plus 18 plus 45 plus 45 is equal to 180. So guys, if you might be seeing like I'm already, yes, Andrew.
I have a thing to say. Like this is kind of similar or almost the same or the same. I'm not sure, but like I just did like when you move it to the other side, minus 90 minus 18, that's 72, right? So and then just divide by 4. So
Okay, yep. Okay, by the way, just to let you know, in the world of mathematics, there are so many ways to solve the math, or somehow we said like there's not just only one way to solve the math. The solution that I'm showing you, this is just the basic way to solve or to understand this kind of problem. Okay, so once we will be moving forward, there are so many ways that we can solve this problem. Actually, I can solve this problem in a manner of, since this is a what we call an isosceles, or two sides of the triangle are equal like that, then I can use that kind of theorem. So eventually you will able to think that there are so many ways to solve mathematics, not just only one way. All right. So this one is just only one of those way, and Andrew's way is just only one of those, and then Jaitra's way is only one of those. So this is the most basic way to solve this problem. So we have 4x plus 108 is equal to 180. So 4x is equal to 180 minus 108. So you have 4x is equal to 72. So x divided by 4. So, or 4x divided by 4 and 72 divided by 4, then you can have 18. Any question, guys? And this one. Solve. And what is your x?
I think x is 9.
Okay, 9. How do you get 9?
39 plus 31 is 70. 180
Mhm.
minus 70 is 110.
Mhm.
110 minus 111 is 99.
Mhm.
110 minus 11 is 99, I'm sorry. And 11x equals 99. So 99 divided by 11 equals x, which is 99 divided by 11 is 9. So x would be 9.
Okay, great. So 31 plus 39 plus 11x plus 11 is 180. Then 11x plus 81 is 180. Then 11x is equal to 180 minus 81. So x is equal to 99. So we'll be having x is equal to 9. Any question? So if you don't have any, if we're interested in learning Singapore math, okay, so Singapore math is just another those math curriculum that will gives you a much more a what we call like, we'll provide you a simple solution first or visualize first, and then solve it. Then we will solve it then mentally. Then after that, we'll keep on trying different figures, different problems, and then in order for us to solve, and then we find ways to solve the problem much more easy. So the idea in Singapore math is that we will teach you the basic way first through visual, and then after visual, we'll teach you how to do it using numbers, and then after that, for using numbers, then we do it mentally. And then after we do it mentally, we do the practices, exercises, and then let's do the calculation in much more faster way to solve the problem, so that eventually you'll be also registering for Waterloo Math Contest. Question, clarifications.